The final few minutes before you raise your voice can shape the next few weeks of your dog's trust. In that small window, most caring owners accidentally turn an ordinary disagreement into a long-lasting stress pattern. You feel your tone sharpen, your shoulders rise, and your footsteps get heavier without permission. You see your dog blink once, shift weight back, and quietly exit like a shadow. You think you are just arguing with a person, but your dog does not understand the topic. Your dog only understands volume, posture, speed, and unpredictability. The nervous system does not debate. It predicts. Before you argue, your dog must decide whether this sound pattern means safety or threat. Veterinary behaviorists broadly agree that fear, anxiety, and stress often show up as avoidance and displacement behaviors, not dramatic rebellion. The dog that leaves is not being spiteful. The dog is increasing distance because distance lowers arousal. You can test this with a simple hypothetical. You put the same dog in two identical homes, but one has frequent loud conflict. By the time you reach week 3, you see more scanning, more exits, and less relaxed lounging in that home. So you remember this. Leaving is communication. Now you learn the part most people miss. The body shows stress earlier than the paws do. You do not lose your dog's trust in one loud moment. You lose it in the small signals you overlook right before the exit. You can hack this system by watching for 7 low-intensity stress cues that stack in the seconds to minutes before your dog leaves. First, you notice lip licking when no food is present, with tight mouth corners and a quick tongue flick. Second, you see yawning that does not match sleepiness, paired with shallow breathing and a stiff neck. Third, you catch head turns and gaze aversion, where your dog looks away like the room suddenly became fascinating. Fourth, you see sudden sniffing of the floor, not because there is a scent, but because displacement behavior burns nervous energy. Fifth, you notice freezing or slow motion movement, where the body goes quiet and the paws move like they are walking through water. Sixth, you see a tucked tail or a low tail carriage with tight muscles, weight shifted back, and a smaller silhouette. Seventh, you notice ears pinned back or constantly swiveling, as if your dog is trying to triangulate danger from sound alone. Applied animal behavior researchers have described these as common stress signals across contexts, especially when the environment becomes unpredictable. If you paused the scene like a sports replay, you would see these cues appear, then intensify, then finally turn into the cleanest option your dog has. You summarize it like this. These are early warnings, not personality flaws. Now you face the mistake that teaches your dog to leave faster next time. The golden rule of conflict around dogs is this: distance is safety, and safety is learning. You see your dog leave, and you follow. You block the doorway. You keep calling your dog back because you want closeness to win. You think you are repairing connection, but your dog does not experience it as connection. Your dog experiences it as loss of control. The dog does not assume you are being mean. The dog assumes the environment is getting harder to predict. To fix this problem, you must understand the learning loop. When your dog leaves and stress drops, leaving gets reinforced because it works. That is negative reinforcement in plain language. When you remove the escape route and force proximity, arousal spikes, and the brain tags the whole scene as more intense next time. That is sensitization, and it is how small conflicts become big triggers. Many trainers and behaviorists emphasize agency for a reason. Because flooding a dog with unavoidable stress does not build resilience. It builds exit strategies. You can picture 2 dogs. One can retreat to a quiet corner and decompress. The other gets trapped near the noise. By the time you reach the third argument, the trapped dog is already scanning for exits before you even change your tone. So you stop the chase, and you prevent escalation. Now you use a routine that repairs trust fast. You do not need a perfect household. You need a predictable buffer. Step 1 is management, and it starts before you argue. Before you argue, your dog must have a place that never gets followed into. You set up a bed or crate in a quiet area, you add white noise, and you offer a long-lasting chew. You make that zone boring in the best way, because boring is safe. You summarize step 1 like this. You give your dog an exit that stays respected. Step 2 is changing the sensory profile of conflict. You lower volume, you soften posture, you increase distance, and you avoid looming over your dog's path. You think you are using words, but your dog does not understand your words. Your dog reads body mechanics, speed, and pressure like a weather forecast. This is the concept that changes everything. You do not need silence. You need fewer threat cues. Step 3 is a neutral to positive pattern that starts when tension starts. You scatter feet away from the room, or you cue a pre-trained mat settle, so your dog has a job that is not emotional mediation. You are not bribing. You are giving the nervous system a script. Veterinary behaviorists often frame this as management plus counter-conditioning, because you reduce exposure while you build a new association. You can run a simple hypothetical. You repeat this buffer consistently for 2 weeks, and the argument cue shifts from unpredictable threat to predictable routine. So you remember the routine. Safe zone, softer conflict cues, and a simple job. Now you handle what happens after the argument, so you do not punish calm by accident. By the time you make up, your dog may still be in a stress recovery window. You think the danger is over because the voice has stopped, but your dog's body can stay activated for hours. The stress hormones clear on their own schedule, not yours. You reset trust in the next 24 hours with decompression, not intensity. You take a quiet sniff walk or give sniff time in the yard. You keep feeding predictable. You add gentle enrichment like a food puzzle, and you avoid forced cuddling. You do not over-apologize with big attention that crowds your dog. You let your dog choose contact, because choice is the fastest way back to safety. You also watch for signs that this is bigger than normal stress. You take it seriously if you see refusal to eat, trembling, hiding for hours, aggression, or repeated panic during raised voices. You start with a veterinarian to rule out pain or medical issues. Then you work with a credentialed behavior professional. Veterinary behavior medicine emphasizes early intervention because stress patterns can generalize. You can picture a future where raised voices turn into broader noise sensitivity, then into daily hypervigilance. You prevent that future with small changes now. You end with the core reframe. Your dog is not judging your relationship. Your dog is tracking safety signals.